Hey everyone, Mike on Monday coming to you. Enjoy the sunshine. It's been a little too long since we've seen that. A number of things I wanted to touch on here. First, that we've got some training coming up in the near future. For any of you that are looking to use the dicamba beans, the extend beans, there is some special training that you do have to take if you're looking to apply the chemistry side of that. Again, that has to be done in advance of purchasing and applying these materials. So check with your local Country Visions agronomist. We've got a number of dates coming up here in the winter to get that taken care of. The other thing I wanted to draw your attention to is that Country Visions is running a January special offer on seed meter calibrations. You can get service 5 meters and get the 6th one free. Again, we'd be able to do John Deere, Case, Kinsey, and White planters. And if we look at the chart here, we see over that 6-7 year period of time frame that as we improved singulation, we started adding bushels out there. So it does pay to get that singulation set up. You'll notice that January 18th in Chilton and Wrightstown is a date that we'll have a day to bring in meters and get them taken care of. January 25th, Malone and Plymouth. And February 1st will be Velders, Reedsville, and Rockwood. Again, the initial test without internal work is about $15 a meter. First pay for 5, get the 6th one free. If anything needs some work to be performed on it, there will be some additional costs, $30 a meter plus the parts and such. Switching over to my main topic today, working on a project with Lakeside Foods, I was drawn into a conversation looking at data for some inconsistencies in weed control. And one of the things that we've been stumbling into is the performance of generics versus name brands out there. We're seeing inconsistencies in performance. And one of the things that I can tell you is that that we found was Dual, which is used on a lot of those acres out there in the canning world, that back in '97, Syngenta replaced the old Dual formulation with a new one, basically using, they found an S isomer, which they spun into calling it S-metolachlor. That's the technical name of Dual, metolachlor. But the S isomer they found has better activity on weeds than the old R isomer. And when we looked at changing, as we moved into this format of reduced herbicide rates, because we've got overlays coming, yada, 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 that when we went into the reduced rates, we're using the old style, that we got about 78% control on the weeds versus the S-metolachlor rate, again, or that it took more chemistry in that old R to get the job done. And this was 445 field comparisons, 42% of them coming out of university data. So there's a difference between old and new as far as that performance goes. What I want to show you here is, again, when we looked at an example on fine soils using the old metolachlor, the R style, and the rates would need to be about 3 pints of that material to equal the new S-metolachlor style of 2 pints. Again, when you're reading these labels, you have to be watching very closely. The old R does have a legal limitation to how high you can go. You're only able to go to 2 pints on certain crops and such. So you're limited in ways. Again, the new S-metolachlor created some safety at lower rates and more performance. So what if you're told, as an example, to run 1.33 pints of dual out there from a canning company, from guys like myself, that we're talking about the S-metolachlor brand or product, the isomer there. Again, that 1.33 pints. If we're using any of the generics out there or even the old stuff, the majority of this stuff is the R isomer. And in order to get that 1.3 pint rate equivalent, we have to move up to 2 pints on this older material or some of those generics. Now, I know the old and the generics tend to have a better price point per gallon, but we have to do the math. If I have to use 35% more material, these guys over here have to be at least 35% less than the dual Magnum to make good business sense in that purchase. So at Country Visions, we handle both the dual Magnum. We do handle a generic that is made by Syngenta called Brawl 2. It is the S-metolachlor brand or isomer that you're looking for to get these rates. Again, one of the things that we were finding in the data as we look through it is the inconsistency in weed control out on the acre. And one of the points that we were finding a correlation is the difference of these materials used on an acre, getting the old R on there, not quite getting the weed control we were looking for, as well as making sure we're staying within those labeled rates. So I guess the word to the wise is double check the labels, make sure the active ingredients are exactly the same, that the pounds of AI, active ingredient per gallon, are the same, that we're making great business decisions on that. So I'm going to close out there. Mike on Monday. We'll talk to you next week. Have a great one.